The Ohio State University College of Dentistry. You've spent a lot of time on campus learning the art and science of dentistry. You've spent time here, and even here. We teach you how to be good clinicians, but what about good leaders? Success in dentistry is more about how good you are with your hands. It's also about how well you lead. Today, we're going to take a look at the 5 exemplary leadership practices and how some leaders in Central Ohio view them as part of their success. The drill and the directive, applying the 5 leadership principles in private practice. We're going to begin our discussion on leadership, well, at the beginning. Our researchers talk about modeling the way as the foundation piece of leadership. And we're going to talk to someone who used that in the military and now here at the College of Dentistry. Let's go talk to Dr. Teddy Jackson. Good morning, Dr. Jackson. Good to see you. Thanks so much for helping us out on this adventure of leadership. And so I don't know if a lot of the dental students know this about you, but you just didn't step into a clinic director position. You had a career before you ever came here in the military and the Air Force.
Yes.
And so you have been modeling the way for a long time. So why don't you talk to us about what modeling the way looked like early on in your career as you came out of dental school and into the Air Force?
Yes, so right from the beginning as a brand new Air Force officer, I was not only put in the position of a follower, I had leadership, I had commanders, but I was also immediately put into a position of leadership. I had people I was supervising, I had people that I was developing, and so from the beginning, I wasn't great at that. I hadn't had a lot of leadership positions in the past, so I was really looking to my leadership for examples of good leadership, the skills that I was seeing that were translating into positive teamwork, and I was taking those skills and trying to translate them into my leadership style, again, right from the beginning.
So really what you're kind of referencing there is what the book talks about, finding your voice. And really, what they really mean about that is really finding your leadership style. How did that kind of translate through the rest of your military career as you became more and more involved, more and more responsibility?
I found as a leader, as a successful leader, getting the mission accomplished, we're talking about the military.
Sure.
It was really about saying what you're going to do, but more importantly, doing what you're going to say you're
What
doing.
a great statement, because the book really speaks to this topic of do what you say you will do when you're modeling the way. How did that fit into where you are now?
Well, modeling the way in this setting, in this educational setting, really went to a new level for me. I've got 30 students that I'm supervising in the clinic, and they are looking towards, or to me, for guidance on a lot of things.
Right.
Not just the hand skills, but how do I communicate with patients? How do I discuss difficult topics? And so there's the hard skills of dentistry, the hand skills, the procedures, but the soft skills there as well, which are as important or even more important as these new dentists start their career.
And you talked about that, oftentimes, as we know, there's just not enough time to kind of say everything you want to a student about the procedure, both from the clinical side, from the communication side. So you talked about the debrief. So tell us about what that looks like.
The debriefing for me with my students is extremely important. There is a lot of information that is communicated during an appointment. Some more important than the other, but I am aware of that. And so after the appointment, I will debrief with my students on what we talked about, what we did, the points that I want them to take home. Because each appointment I'm building on the previous one. And
right.
So they're able to learn what we did during a specific appointment and then translate that into future appointments.
Yeah, so really, when we look at the kind of this continuum, if we will, of modeling the way, it really never ends. So I guess my last question to you is, as you look to these students and they graduate, what are some of the things that you hope that they take away from either things that you've said or things that they've learned here in order to help them model the way in their next career, whether that's private practice or group practice?
Right, so in addition to me making them into competent dentists as they leave the school from a hand skills perspective. I'm teaching them to be leaders as well. When they leave here, they're not just practitioners. They are going to be leading teams. They're going to be part of group practices. There's going to be lots of leadership opportunities for them, and so I'm also teaching them to be good leaders.
Well, we all know that it all starts with modeling the way, and I just appreciate you taking the time to give us some perspective on what that means to you. But inquiring minds have one more question to ask you, and that's this. Does this Navy, are they really better than Air Force?
I don't know who you heard that from, but there's really only one answer to that, and I look no further than my Air Force plaque. So, does this answer your question?
I think it does, and with that, I think we just have to say, go Air Force.
Go Air Force.
Well, we make our way from Ohio State out to Gahanna on the east side of Columbus, and we're going to continue our conversation about leadership. And so from modeling the way, we're now going to talk about inspiring a shared vision, and I have a wonderful person that you need to meet. He's an educator, he's a podcaster. Let's talk to Bill Montgomery, the president and CEO of 1049 The River. Bill, great to see you. Thanks so much for helping us continue this discussion with our dental students on leadership. And we're going to be talking today about inspiring a shared vision. And I know you've done this a lot because you are the CEO here and you've been here for 3 years in that position.
Yes.
But you also are an adjunct professor. And so tell us what you teach.
Yes, I'm an adjunct professor at Cedarville University, my alma mater. I teach media sales and also media management. So we spend a good bit of time on leadership there.
And then, I don't know if they know this, but you talk on leadership a lot because you have your own podcast. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I've got 2 seasons under my belt of Brewing Better Leaders. Happens to take place in coffee shops around Central Ohio, primarily with a wide range of leaders on a lot of different leadership topics that aren't just for CEOs, it's for anybody that's wanting to learn better leadership skills and traits that they can put into their own life.
When we talk about leadership and we're talking about inspiring a shared vision, you've really done this recently because in the last 2 years, there's been a pretty big expansion here at the River. So can you kind of share with us what inspiring a shared vision looked like as that expansion happened here?
Yes, as I moved into the CEO role, and I've been here now 17 years, but the first 14 years of that was just a peer of our other managers, and then moved into that CEO role. And so we really began down a road of what's our mission and vision, just as we reinvestigated that. Where do we want to be in 5 years? Where do we want to be in 10 years? How do we grow our mission? And it really became clear that we wanted to grow the message and the footprint of what we were doing. We had about 5 radio stations at that time. And so it's funny, as we began to open our mind, talk about that as a leadership team, talk about that with our teams under that, and say, hey, we think we can do more if we're in more markets with what we're doing. People began to buy into that vision, and then opportunities began to come up. And so the first was an acquisition up in Worcester, which is in Northeast Ohio, with a really big station that covered a lot of counties up there. We picked up a couple stations there. And during that, actually merged with another organization out of Northwest Ohio, Bell Fountain, that had about 8 radio stations. And suddenly we went from 5 to 15 stations and 3 locations, and so really had to get everybody on the same page of that vision as we were doing that.
So we talked a lot about this inspiring a shared vision piece, but really it's not, I'm going to write this on a storyboard and people are going to read it and they're going to go do it. We talked about storytelling, about making the vision more personable to the people that are going to be a part of it. And so how does that play in when you're trying to inspire people?
You know, it starts with our people and how do we get them on the same page, and taking some of the stories of how people have been impacted by the radio work that we do. You know, what positive stories can we share out about of those individuals, and then can we get them seeing that this is going to happen in other places? And then as we have these mergers and acquisitions, it's bringing those people into that same vision, because they might have been doing something completely different, and now they're doing a new thing with us and going, it's not just, hey, these songs went out over the air and this is really important and it's really powerful, but hey, here's a woman that was, dealing with a cancer diagnosis, and this right song came on at the right time in her car and was a comfort to her and really helped her take the next step the next day. And, there was a story of a chaplain and how that helped somebody, or, here's somebody that was alone and this music provided hope and comfort, and this DJ was a great encouragement to this person at an event. And all of a sudden people see story after story after story of the vision, and they begin to buy in and go, I want to be a part of this.
So really, as we look towards our dental students, as they go from student to practitioner to potentially business owner, what kind of advice do you have for them as they begin to then want to inspire a shared vision with their own teams?
Yeah, I think as they get into practices, they're going to begin to see things that they like, things that they don't like, and not even that are wrong. It's just like, oh, I would do it differently. And they're going to begin to create their own brand and their own vision. And hopefully they can continue to move themselves and align toward that. Keep a notebook, keep notes in your phone, wherever you want to put that, and just, here's what I want to do more of, or here's what I want to make sure we never do. And begin to continue to align yourself toward that, build your own personal brand that becomes your own personal practice. And one day you see that vision. I know when not only were you an advertiser of ours here at the radio station, but I was I was in your practice as a patient.
Right.
And you could see your vision of who you wanted to be in all of the people that were there, the pictures that were on the wall, the way you interacted with staff. And so it's like, develop that, become that. And that just is a daily commitment to living out your vision of your practice.
We really appreciate your time talking about inspiring a shared vision. Shameless plug, tell us your favorite coffee shop here in Central Ohio.
There's one very near campus. It's the most creative, unique, and different coffee shop that I've ever been to, and it is called Royal Flamingo.
Royal Flamingo. Well, everybody, go check out that coffee shop. Bill, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So one of the things that we've already talked about is modeling the way. And then we heard from Bill about inspiring a shared vision. But now we want to move further, and we want to talk about what happens when you actually begin to challenge the process. And I think I have the person that I'd like for you to meet. Welcome to Nationwide Arena. Greg, good to see you.
Good to see you.
It's really great to be here with you. It just reminds me of something. Many, many years ago, you were the first person that really kind of helped work with me. You know where I'm going with this, with the radio commercial. Photophentons, yes. You'll have to ask us about photophentons. But that radio spot was such a long time ago, and you started really in radio, but you've done radio, you've done commercials, you've worked for numerous radio stations, you've owned your own business, Mervox, for
25 plus
25
years.
Yeah.
About the same amount of time I've been here.
Right, so you've been here 26 years?
26 years, 25 seasons.
And currently have called how many games consecutively?
Over 1,000 hockey games.
Wow.
So never missed a game since the team came into the NHL.
Absolutely
I've done every single Blue Jackets game.
When we talk about challenging the process, and I know you know a lot about this, kind of share with us what challenging the process has meant to you.
When you mention that to me, the two words obviously that stick out are challenge and process. Challenge implies that there's a different way that you're going to do something. Process implies that there's already something in place. So we're going to change the way we normally do something. And what really has stuck in my mind is that a lot of times I would find myself not content with the way things were being done. Is there a more efficient way? Is there a more creative way? Is there a smarter way? Is there a faster way? Because when you're working in radio, it's I need this and I need it yesterday, right? So as I have evolved as a business owner and a leader, I have changed the way that works for me.
I really feel like our dental students can relate with that as they kind of matriculate from being dental students into private practice, because when they own a practice, now they're business owners, and that's going to apply.
Right, and there are things that you do the way other folks do it. There are certain procedures that you have to follow.
Sure.
But there are also procedures that you build. For us at Mervox, I am the CBO, the Chief Blabbing Officer. My job is to talk. I couldn't tell you how to do an invoice. That's why I have the POF, my wife Jules, who manages all the business stuff. I jokingly say she takes care of all the business because if I were in charge, we wouldn't make any money.
Right.
I have enough trouble telling her to send an invoice, let alone fill out an invoice and send it off to somebody. She's got that skill set. So we have been able to develop a process for how we do our billing, and it's worked pretty well.
Again, when we go back to challenging the process and you think backward from where you came to where you are now, would you say you're constantly challenging, or do you become satisfied at a certain point?
Well, with regard to my work here with the Blue Jackets, I've held court over an NHL draft, an All-Star game, playoff games. I did the outdoor game when they played in Ohio Stadium last year. So I've been able to accomplish stuff. So I walk away from this very satisfied with what I've done. I've always wanted to do 1,000 games. I hit the 1,000 game regular season and playoff mark this season, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I go away from this very satisfied. I will miss it, but I'm also excited to see what the next person that does what I did is going to do with it. Now, on the other side of it, I'm terrified because there are new challenges out there. There are going to be other business challenges, and that's a little bit scary because it's unknown.
So really, I think the message that we're really trying to kind of give our students is that challenging processes is ever evolving. There are
absolutely.
times when we get satisfied with certain processes, but in order to continue to evolve and continue to innovate, we need to continue to challenge.
If you're not moving forward, if you're not pushing, your business is dying.
And that's what a great statement that is. So, you know, I thank you for your time, but I do have one more question.
I know what you want,
Oh.
but you're going to have to wait for it.
Okay. Challenging the process is often a critical piece in leadership. But now we're going to be talking about enabling others to act. And there's no person that I can think of that has a better story about this than the owner and operator of Combustion Brewery and Tap Room, Keith Jackson. Well, Keith, thanks so much for inviting us in today to talk about leadership. And we're talking about enabling others to act. And I know you know a lot about this because we're here really where everything began for you in Pickerington at Combustion Brewery and Tap Room, the first location. And that's not the only location.
Yeah, that's right. We have a location on North High Street, just north of Ohio State.
So you didn't start your career here. You had a career as a master brewer before here with another company here in Columbus, right?
Yeah, I did. I started with Columbus Brewing Company before starting Combustion.
So you had this dream, now it's a reality. I'm sure enabling others to act has been pretty important in your business model. How has that played how's it played when you've been able to grow and expand and so forth?
Yeah, so I'm very aware of the fact that I can't do everything, and we have a big operation. We have a lot of people, like you said. We have about 27 employees. Starting the brewery here, I expected to be doing all of the brewing. Quickly found out that wasn't going to be possible, so I brought someone in to help out doing that. And then quickly, that person took a leadership role in the brewery, was able to really help us make all of these things happen. Not to mention the fact that we had to hire a lot of people, as well as, just developing everyday policies, everyday things that we need to do. And I don't have expertise in that. And I knew that having someone that did was very important. So right from the beginning, I knew that we had to bring in, other people and good people that are going to be able to lead different aspects of the business.
So do you find yourself as one that tends to micromanage people? Do you have certain things that I just want things done a certain way? Or do you find it easy to kind of begin to take your hands off and and let people do what they're trained to do?
It's something that has grown with me as the business has grown. So early on, I think I was very much, I wanted everything to be exactly the way I wanted it to be. But as you go, you have to let others have more and more of that control. And especially now, 9 years in, I think that we do that quite a bit. So we lean on our leadership team.
I think when you have more than one location and you're brewing in more than one location, there has to come a time when you say, okay, I know how to do this, and I've taught you how to do it, or you came in with these skills. I have to trust you to pull off a quality product like a combustion IPA, because you can't be in two places at once.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be able to trust someone to do what they do and understand that they're going to also make mistakes here and there, and it's just part of the process. I know that I made mistakes, along the way. I still do, and everyone does. And part of it is being able to trust someone to allow them to make those mistakes so that they actually are developing and learning. Because in my opinion, failing forward is kind of the way that you really learn and things stick.
Well, we can see, even behind us, we have several different types of beers, and you do a lot of innovation and kind of trial and error on taste profiles and things like that. Do you remember a time, or was there a time when you kind of went from I to we? Because the book talks a lot about that. When enabling others to act, we kind of go from what I want to what we want. Was there a conversion time, or do you think it was just kind of a process?
I think that when I work in a team, I always take that we perspective. I always feel a little uncomfortable when I hear people saying I, and I know that it's this team effort. So I think that I had that kind of mentality from early on, is this is only happening because we're all doing it. I'm not doing all of this, it's definitely we.
So you really feel like it's not so much as an owner, operator, president, more power over others as it is power with others.
Yeah, absolutely. I wholeheartedly believe that the people will get behind something or be more engaged with something when they have more ownership in it and more control over the situation. I feel like when I've been in situations where I feel like it's 100% directed, you just don't really feel like you've got the same engagement level. So I've always felt that way. It's about letting others do what they need to do, grow in their own way, and hopefully I'm putting them in an environment where they can do that really well.
And I think we really see that because you have some key employees that have been here almost since the beginning and are still here. And I think a lot of that has to do with your ability to enable them to do what they're trained to do and act in a manner that's representative of the company.
We have several employees that have been here since the beginning, and actually several that have been here since right after we opened. So we've got most of our staff has been here for over a year, and most of them I'd say probably over 3 years. So
I can just say I think you're doing some things right, and I appreciate your ability to help us with talking about enabling others to act. And I'll just say to you, cheers.
Yes, I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks.
Enabling others to act is such a pivotal portion of leadership that I want you to hear this from another perspective. Renee Cucillo, the CEO of SafeLight, has been at the helm since 2021 and been a member of the SafeLight family since 2011. In 2014, she was pivotal in negotiating the SafeLight netting in Ohio Stadium, and in 2022 helped sign a multi-year contract to rename the field SafeLight Field. Let's go have a conversation with Renee Cucillo about enabling others to act. Renee, thank you so much for taking some time out and helping us to continue this conversation about leadership. And so we're here talking to you about enabling others to act. And this is something near and dear to your heart. So tell us about just the scope and breadth of this company. Just how big is this company?
Yeah, so SafeLight Group is around 17,000 associates, and we actually are 50 states. We have 850 stores. We have 6,500 mobile vans, which serve customers. Wow. And then we also have about 2,500 of our associates work from home as contact center associates. Oh. And then we have our supply chain associates. So about 75% of our company is frontline.
So with the number of employees, and we talked about really the hero of SafeLight is the technician. The technician is the one who pulls off the act, the person who's putting the glass in and really working with the customer, they're customer facing. So with tens of thousands of employees, and we're talking about enabling others to act, I know that you talk a lot about people power and empowerment of these employees. So help us understand, how do you enable such a wide group of people? How do you enable them to act and empower them?
Well, we do believe our technicians are our heroes. They're our everyday heroes. That's what we call them. When you think about it, if you go to dinner with your friend and you say, hey, I had a cracked windshield and I got it fixed today, you don't talk about how great the sunbeam is on it, or the molding, or how great the urethane was when it was stripped out.
Of course.
You talk about the tech. You talk about the technician and how easy they made it. And so for us, it's all been around really celebrating that. In the past, I don't know that SafeLight cherished our techs as much as we should have, but we really now understand that they are not only the front line, but they are the conduit to who we are, and that's the representation of our brand.
So really tying them into the mission and the vision of SafeLight has been really just a pillar of success for SafeLight.
Yes, and so they know that we believe in our SafeLight spirit. That's what we talk to our technicians around. We're a company with a purpose of bringing unexpected happiness to people's everyday lives. That's pretty good for a company that serves in a negative service industry, right? So we're compared a lot to dentists, and we're also compared a lot to pest control, people you never want to go see unless you have to.
Right.
We're right in that category, and we're very proud of being in that category because we believe that we can amaze you. We can actually just blow you away because you don't know what to expect.
And that really is a big customer service piece. And our students don't know this, but you know also a lot about dental practices because your husband is a periodontist.
Oh, yes.
So you have been
I've been around for 30 years of dentistry.
That's right, 30
Yes.
years of it. You've seen many things. So if we go from the macro level of what SafeLight does internationally down to what a dental practice is trying to accomplish, would you say that there are a lot of differences? Would you say there are a lot of similarities? And if there are, what do you see from both perspectives as CEO and looking from the outside into a dental practice?
Yeah, I would say a dental practice could be like one of our stores where you have a lot of different roles in there. You could have mobile technicians, right? You could have in-shop technicians. You can have technicians that just do recalibrations or repair specialists. And you've still got your assistant store manager, which for a dental practice would be like your hygiene practice, your dental assistants, right? Your associates, your front desk. And so when you look at that, that team has to always work together to really make what's not always in their control, controllable, and something that people just are very impressed with.
So what kind of advice would you give our dental students as they matriculate from being dental students into fully licensed dentists and either associates or owners when it comes to this concept of enabling others to act as they start interfacing with their own teams?
Yeah, I would say the first one is collaborate, right? You have to really collaborate. Understand what people's roles are, understand what they're working on, see how you can help them. Everyone loves a curious leader who really is engaged and wants to be a part of the process and learn. But then the other one is build trust. And I learned a long time ago that I could go 70 miles an hour by myself, or I could go 55 miles an hour and bring everyone with me if I could explain to them the why, if I could share with them about what we were trying to do, that they would all get that momentum. And if all of us went 55 miles an hour, we were going to outpace me going by myself 70 miles an hour. And that made a huge difference because then people really feel pride in their area. They want to contribute and come in with their new idea and thinking, because you create this culture that actually is open to new ideas and curiosity.
I think that's a wonderful parallel between what you're doing here at SafeLight and what dentists are trying to do in their practices. And so I just thank you again for your time, and we really appreciate what you've done.
Absolutely.
Well, we're ending our journey where we began, back here at Ohio State. And we're going to finish our discussion on leadership by having a conversation with Dr. Carol Ann Trotman, Dean of the College of Dentistry.
Well, it seems very appropriate that we are spending our last session with you, Dean Trotman, talking about leadership. And we're going to be talking about our last component of encouraging the heart. And first, I want to congratulate you because you have just recently been reappointed to the position of dean. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you for that.
Thanks.
And as we talk about encouraging the heart, and we've had some conversations about this previously, what do you think are some of the things that we do here to encourage and celebrate the achievements of faculty and staff and students?
So we do a number of things. I think the individual has to be grounded. If you start and you're looking at motivating individuals, speaking of the heart, in an organization like this, you go from the individual to the group and then to the entire community.
And we talked about some of the ways in which we do that here. We, of course, have our shared values,
Right.
which you all should know, and we give awards to people that are exhibiting those shared values, but we also do other things like recognizing students for exemplary behavior and research and so on. We have faculty awards, we have staff awards.
Sure.
There's lots of those things that we do for the individual. It just reminds me of a time when, not too long ago, we were at our forum and there were some people that were awarded
Sure.
things there. And how important do you think that was for them?
The shared values is super important because one of the things that it allows us to do when you think of the big group, it celebrates behaviors that we all support. And on a day-to-day basis, those behaviors are important again with how we interact with each other. So you take the individual, the group. That interaction is so important because comfortably interacting is what allows us to move ourselves as a unit forward.
Right.
So the university, if you recall, generated these shared values, and every year we work through this and see how we're doing, take a measure of where we are and what we should improve upon. And I really enjoy that because it is some form of accountability to the behaviors that we want to hold ourselves to. I'm talking about modeling very positive behaviors.
Right.
When it comes to rewards, the recognition is good. I enjoy doing it. However, I think I would challenge the individual, not so much to not need rewards, but to understand yourself and to understand what drives you. Because obviously not everybody's going to win an award.
Of course.
But everybody's vital and everybody's important. And a part of that happiness, the individual happiness, is the individual understanding how important they are to the college or the organization as a whole.
Right, and we
And
talked
that-
about this piece of people that are doing good work, want to know that their work is being looked at and valued,
Absolutely.
and that's really what you're speaking
And
to.
that is a daily thing that we work towards. That
Mm-hmm.
recognition is every day, an understanding that you are valued and the work that you do is valued. You get it in a sense of when you do something that's very positive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you do it for yourself, and it's nice to be acknowledged with that. When it comes to getting individuals to interact, one of the signature events that we do is the turkey carving
Yes,
event.
we know all about the turkey carving.
Yes, and as from year to year, I've seen that people really enjoy this. There's something significant in that goes beyond just me talking to people and communicating. It's everybody interacting with each other, and it's bringing people together around something. And I always know that it's all, food is a great motivator to
Right.
bring individuals together.
But this is something that you said is really something very positive you really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And as our dean, to see you have so much fun doing it, and we know, and you'd said it's not just you, we have a leadership team that's
Correct.
contributing.
Correct.
But ultimately as leader, you're driving this piece, but
Sure.
from that forum piece where you're standing in front of people talking to them versus putting a piece of turkey on their plate and wishing them happy holidays
Sure.
is just such a different type of feel
Yes.
that really does create this sense of community and camaraderie.
Absolutely, and you at first when I said to the rest of the leadership team, we should all be doing this. It's not just me. I mean, you know, the hesitancy, I don't know how to carve a turkey. That's okay. You know, that's not the point. The point is that we're doing this for someone else. It's a type of servant leadership that is really quite nice, actually, and I enjoy doing that.
Well, I think from the perspective that I have, having not been here very long, watching you as our leader, both from sitting in an auditorium watching you speak, to literally having you show up at my office and asking me how my day is, really speaks to you going from that form perspective to just really trying to just touch base with people and just that simple word of encouragement, you know, means a lot to so many.
Sure.
And so just the ability for you to do that speaks volumes as a leader about really encouraging people.
Yeah, you know, I probably don't do enough of the walking around the college, but we've started also instituting some additional things, like every 6 months I'm meeting with each division to talk about what issues we might have, what they see as challenges, just to get more communication.
Sure.
It can be a challenge, you know, getting things, but because you can always talk to people, but getting them to respond or to answer, to give their opinion, it's at times can be challenging.
As we look at this macro perspective of our institution with over 800 people that you're trying to manage and make sure we're all rowing in the right direction, down to more of a micro level of a dental practice, whether that's a group practice or private practice. As these students now graduate and they go into this new world of private practice or group practice, what kind of advice do you have for them in terms of how they might be able to encourage the heart, if you will, of their team members?
If you're encouraging the heart, then you have to look to your own heart, and you have to understand who you are and what sort of environment you want to create that others are working in. What is the outcome you want? Do you want people to be happy? Do you want them to just get to work? Can you do both? How do you encourage what you value? It may be worth your while to come up with your own values that you want to share, that you want to live by in your practice. The pillars by which you want to run that organization.
I think that's wonderful advice, and I just really appreciate the time that you've taken to help us land the plane here on our journey of leadership. So thank you so much for that. And one more thing for our students. OH.
IO.
Go Bucks.
As I stated before, clinical excellence is only half the battle. In order to truly thrive in private practice, you have to be able to complement your hand skills with your ability to inspire and lead others. I hope the examples that we shared with you today provide you a clear roadmap for your own journey in leadership. Always carry yourselves with integrity, represent the profession well, and as always, go Bucks.